Yeah.
Okay, you guys are on.
Good morning, everybody. This is our last show of the year, fellas. And so Christy, in all of her wisdom, I believe, didn't A, want to do a show.
I was thinking the same thing. She wanted a day off.
And B, knew that I'd be excited to talk to you guys. So Coach Rudy Olvera, head coach Mohave Football, and Jonathan Williams, recent Army commit, heading to West Point, play football. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Thank you. Thank you.
I get to see you guys and talk all the time, so I'm going to try to not do too much where it's like I know this thing and we just kind of talk about inside stories. But we've been doing this football thing a long time, and we've been following Jon in this thing. And Jon just recently signed. I'm sure you have some of those images, Argonda, of that signing day to go play football at Army.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, the whole process went, from his recruiting process, Coach Nixon.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's one of those moments, you dream of for your kids, and there he is. It's like I said, it was fun though. Coaches calling you and asking questions. I think the coolest part was where we were in the field house, and we had to literally measure Jon, and then we had to film.
You just sent back. He pretty big, Coach.
Yeah, they're like tape measure and film him, and someone filming me, taping him up, and I mean, it was. That's when it was real.
Yeah,
like this is real. I think I told the guy at the Arizona Republic. My favorite part though was all the pictures he was taking when he's on his trips, and the best picture was always him and Mika.
Yeah,
you go through the pictures.
That's funny. I grabbed a picture that I sent Jeff last. I don't know if the one I sent you just last, and it's Mika's on the side and you guys are in the middle of that signing thing, and it's pretty fun to see some of those, So, that is definitely not Mika.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, that was the last one you sent me.
That is definitely not the last one I sent. So while we're on this picture, this is kind of really where it all started coming together. I don't want to. We'll go back and talk about signing and West Point and all that other stuff. But there it is.
I knew I could find it.
Yeah, there it is. And, look at the smiles, man. Like,
yeah, that's not fake.
When we started this thing a long time ago, we all kind of envisioned these things, and to see them come true, I think was a pretty fulfilling feeling. You know what I mean? I don't know if you initially started playing football and thought, shoot, I'm going to go to college and change my life. But here you are, man, doing the thing. So, but if you go back to that picture of Jon holding that big trophy, it kind of makes me laugh because Matt, with all of his football foresight, said, I found this kid. He's special. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That was all right. That's cool. And it was Jon. And so Jon's been playing football in our ecosystem for how long now?
I started when I was like 10, so yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. And so it's been a fun experience. Tell me a little bit about, I know you had kind of said you really enjoyed the environment that Army provided. Tell me a little bit about the process and what made you jump to Army.
It was kind of almost like a no-brainer because, I was going on a lot of college visits during the summer, and, they all gave me, good experience and everything like that. But when I went to Army, that was my last visit, it just felt like home almost. So it was like, I decided to choose it because, it just felt like home, and, I feel like I wouldn't be homesick when I leave.
Yeah, no, that's got to be huge. I got some pictures. I'm sure we'll get Argonda back in here. And I think we all kind of lived vicariously through you for a few of those trips. Do you have some of those? I sent a couple pictures of some of the other recruiting trips. And it was like, dang, this is like what you see on the internet, and that's Jon at the thing, I think you got that was when high schools were trying to recruit you, Jon. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
Was that the 14U championship?
Yeah, that was a cold night, yeah.
Yes, that was a cold night. That was about this time of year, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and we won a Las Vegas 14U championship and pissed off all of Las Vegas football. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of kids from Bullhead City, Arizona won a Nevada state championship? But if you can find some of those recruiting pictures, man, it looked like such a fun experience. And then, you do that Army one, there's like tanks in the background and everything else. You're like, that's pretty surreal,
I think it's kind of ironic, though, because look at the jersey colors, and if you look at the jerseys we wore here at Mojave.
A little prophetic there, huh?
Yeah, that was the coolest part to see because You know, we ordered these jerseys 3 years ago, and here we are, and there you are with that jersey going with you. So
Yeah.
these were super cool. I mean,
So that was my first on college pictures. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I'll tell you, these were a lot of fun too, man. I think you have been Athlete of the Week, I don't know, 7-8 times over the years.
Yeah.
And so I've been very fortunate to do a lot of interviews and sit downs with you. And I think you were the first freshman to win an Athlete of the Week.
Yep.
So been a lot of fun for sure. Coach, tell me a little bit about, obviously Jon coming in and creating a little bit of a new culture, turning this program around, and
It was really a process, for us as coaches and for the players, and especially for Jon. I mean, just having an athlete like him, like you said, you used the word special. Anytime a coach called me up and they asked me about him, that just kept easily coming out of my mouth. He's just special, I mean, you ask him to do something, he does it. He doesn't complain. He doesn't whine. He
didn't complain for you? What the hell?
No, and I had to learn. And I've been coaching for a little bit of years, and sometimes you just meet someone that can play some football, and you put everything on him. And his sophomore year, there was a key moment in I think our development where we were putting a lot on him, and I wasn't seeing it. I just wanted him to go out there and do his thing, and we're in a crucial game, and we ended up losing the game. It's against Havasu. My wife, she gave me some good words when I got home. She says, "Hey, he's 15 years old. He's a kid, and your job is to protect him."
Yeah.
And so the next morning at film, I pulled Jon aside and I said, "Hey, it's not going to happen again. I'll make the decisions." And I think at that point, when you build a trust, and then you got to go out there and start doing things together, because he didn't have to tell me anything. He wouldn't push himself. If I saw it, I'd bring him over to me. I'd be like, "Hey, take a play off, take 2 plays off."
Yeah.
And then that's how you develop. And then other kids see it. And now they know that it's not just Jon, but if Jon trusts us like he does, then we can roll with it. So the kids started buying into that process, and that was the first step.
So, Jon, tell me a little bit about not only that Havasu game, but I think Havasu is a good encapsulation of the evolution of Jon and Mohave football, where I remember that sophomore year, and, there's a little harassment there. It's a rivalry. I get it. And then to come back, your senior year, and was it 42-0?
Yeah.
I think. Do you have a picture of that shovel game, Argonda? And obviously, we want to win games, and rivalry games are fun, and the shovel shiny, and all that stuff. But I think it meant a lot in terms of kind of finishing the story for that part of it. Jon, did you view it the same way, or was it just a regular game every time you played?
It kind of felt like a regular game, but when I actually sat back and actually looked at it, I was like, damn, I really did it. I really did it finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to be a little bit of relief there. So I'll tell you what, I have a series of pictures of these. This is that is not Havasu. Is that Blue Ridge?
I think that's first round.
Of
Stafford.
I have a bunch of pictures, just coincidentally over the years, of Benjamin lead blocking for Jon.
That's a good picture.
And I'll tell you, I'm gonna miss it for sure. But I've got one from Firebird, where Ben's sealing that edge, and I think you took it to the house, and that was like Ben started calling that his famous Jon touchdown block or something, and I laughed, But then you go, fast forward again 4 or 5 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that's an amazing picture. Do you remember what that's from?
That's our semifinal game against Sabino. Yeah. One of the times we punted. And that's the second time he did that. The first time he did it against Lee Williams. But that picture for Chene does a great job capturing moments, because we saw it live. And it's one of those times where the ball goes over his head, the game's over. We're not in a game anymore. It flips momentum. Same in Lee Williams. It goes over his head in that game. We're not punting. We're actually playing defense back against the goal line. So that's a huge one. And then Lee Williams, again, we can bring it up, where their quarterback breaks him. We knew he was an athlete. We knew that he can get us, and he breaks one. And Jon comes from backside and punches ball out, and we get the ball back, and then that's all she wrote.
Well, it's just so funny because it's such an amazing picture, and you go, "Oh wow, that's on punt." Wait a second, he punts. Yeah. And I don't think people really know, but if push come to shove, you're also our long snapper.
Well,
so
yeah, he was first team.
Gage did a good job, but You know, you were the next in line for that job too.
That's a second team All-State punt, snapping the ball to him over his head. So, but I guess he knew John can get it.
Yeah,
listen. You put it where they can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a quarterback.
Yeah,
listen. He made the amazing catch. What are you mad at me?
Just throw it up. He'll get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So John, tell me a little bit about what you're gonna. Obviously, new things coming up, right? You don't know what is the next phase is going to be like, right? But you do know what you're leaving. Tell me a little bit about what you're going to miss with the school, the guys, the coach. Obviously, you're not going to have grandma's cooking every day, you know. I got to give grandma a shout out on every show I do, so
because you can get food that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But tell me a little bit about, I think you've probably come along far enough to look back and have some reflective thoughts and memories. And tell me a little bit about what you're going to miss here.
I'm just kind of miss everything because I grew up here. Besides me living in Chicago and everything, moving out here. But yeah, I literally grew up here, so I'm gonna miss the guys, and everything because I grew up with them. Because I grew up with them since I was like 8 years old and everything. Because I started football late, but I grew up with them going to school and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna miss playing with them and everything. And yeah, and the coaching staff, it's gonna be hard to get adjusted to. When I go to the Army, but I've been coaching with you or being coached by you guys for so long. It's just,
I'm hoping we set some form of a good precedent, and you go out there and be like, "Dang, I thought Shane was rough. Shit, these guys are kicking my ass." Do you have a picture? A couple of those pictures, John, when he was young playing football, and it's something that I think is kind of maybe unknown or maybe overlooked, but John's really as close to a homegrown guys we got. I mean, I remember John coming out being super raw. That's Coach Matt, who I think was kind of like the godfather of Firebird football, and create a whole different, of course, Deacon out there with no shirt on. Never had a shirt on. Yeah. And, from that to that, you guys played football together, and, you tell Benjamin lost a bunch of weight during the season because he's thick in that one, boy.
Yeah.
But, you guys come up together and playing football a long time, and I think you guys all, made each other better. But if you can find there's an old Firebird team photo in there, Arganda, and you can go through there and just see all these kids that are now a part of what you got going on up there. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
There's the Havasu picture.
Oh, there's the Havasu picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that had to feel pretty good, right? In their field, shovel, senior year.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, that was a nice game right there. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what was weird about that game is it didn't seem like they expected to win at any point.
Yeah,
that was kind of weird, right? After all those years, all that talking, and you're like hey, nothing.
Like I told the boys, there was one guy in the stands thought they were going to win, so it's still unfinished business. But that's just, you got, Coach Moreno in the picture. He played at Mohave as well, and I got to coach him, and he's our head girls basketball coach now, and he helps us out. Everyone has if you go to Mohave, you have a Havasu story, regardless of how in-depth the rivalry is or what the game goes. There's always moments in your career that stick out, and the Havasu game is one of those games, where you're just, you look forward, you get one shot on them every year, and it sticks in there, So
absolutely.
I'm glad we got one for the guys.
So we talked a little bit about looking back. What are you most looking forward to heading out to West Point and seeing what's next for you in the world? What are you most excited about?
Just seeing new competition, seeing new faces. It's be a brand new experience to me. When I came out here, it was a brand new experience, and I loved it. So it's gonna be another one.
Now, when you were recruited, did the coach tell you, "Hey, I got a spot for you," or "Hey, you got to find a spot," or "I need a long snapper"? Or what did he tell you?
He said, "No." He just told me, "Yeah, you're an athlete." He said he's gonna love playing or coaching me up. So
You say you right?
Yeah. When they called me, and they asked me a couple questions about John and what he brings. He said they were in their meeting room, and their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator were like, either way, it doesn't matter wherever that's what they told me. I don't know if they told John the same thing, but wherever he wants to play, we have a spot for him. He can play offense for us, defense for us. And then when we were talking after he signed, and I sent him a message about how, John can punt too. And he saw the picture, and then he's like, we brought our special teams coordinator in the mix too, just to make sure. And then in the game in Texas, he went kickoff coverage, which he did for us this year, which is huge. at one point in time, he came up to me and he's like, "Coach, put me out there. I want to be out there too."
Which was a great example of Jon doing Jon stuff, because it was really the only way we're giving up points at one point is the damn kickoff, you know? And so Jon's like, all right, I'll just go ahead and stop that.
And that one didn't change. It just didn't change because Jon was out there, but now the other guys are like, wait a minute, this isn't, and what we always preach, it's not a time off. You know, it's an important part of the game. It's not just guys going out there. It's guys that got to be dogs. You know, that's what we say. You know, you got to be a dog when you go out there. So when Jon went out there, their ears perked, kind of like dogs. Like, wait a minute, I want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, so now we have kids on the sideline I want to be in kick coverage.
Well, it became a point of pride.
Yes.
You know,
and then he went down to Texas and showed them there too.
I should have sent that video, because that one video,
goodness.
you know. So Jon's, and it's the best of the best. It's all top high school players in the country, and Jon flies down. This poor kid coming up the block and just blew him up, blows him back into the ball carrier.
Yep.
And the announcer didn't even know what happened. I don't know if you listened to the audio.
Got his name
They're
wrong
like,
first.
it looks like he just ran into his own guy, and the other guy's like, no, he did not.
I think my favorite part was when they corrected him and said, no, that was Jonathan Williams, and I'm like, I like hearing that part.
And so that is what this is over here, right?
Yep.
So you were actually an MVP of your team in that All-Star game, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So now you've got kind of a fun football history too. You have traveled relatively all over the country to play football, right? Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about it. I know that Florida, for youth championships, you also went to a big 8th grade All-Star game. Where was that at?
It was also in Florida. Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
So I know we've been to Texas a couple times.
Yeah.
Which I think was the coldest game we ever played in. What was that one called?
I think the
Brett Cooper, that's
Brett
right.
Cooper,
Brett Cooper. And we get there, and was it DeSoto High School?
Yeah, it was DeSoto.
And freezing rain. So I don't know how it wasn't snow or ice, but it was 30 degrees and raining.
Yeah.
And so these guys went out and played, and my knucklehead son decided to take his undershirt off and just play bare belly out there.
Yeah.
His belly was pink by the time he came off the field. It was hilarious. But and then you've been to camps all over the West Coast, right? Vegas, Phoenix, San Francisco.
Yes.
This game's taking you all over the place.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Now you're going to New York.
Yep. It's going to be fun.
You know, I've always wanted to go to New York, so now I have an excuse.
Yeah.
You know, I almost made it to Texas, but we'll go to New York for sure.
Yeah. So a funny story, Coach O missed his flight.
Yep. Yeah. That's probably one of the most embarrassing calls I've ever had to make, where I had to call Mika and say, hey, we didn't make our flight. And my buddy Randy was already there, so, you know, easy to cover Randy, but, I mean, I told Jon I'd make it there, and we walk up in the plane, and we were on time. Put that out there, but as we walk up and it says boarding and our plane was backing out, pretty sure you can't board as they back out. And my wife and I stood there staring at each other, and we were just like, and I'm like, I'll call.
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, Jon being there was huge. My buddy Randy went. He made a commitment. He's a Mohave grad to follow us around this year. He said he only missed one game because his wife got concert tickets and he had to go to the concert. But he, you know, after our
believe that lady.
After our first game at Bourgade, you know, he went down the sideline and pulled a bunch of guys, and he's like, I'm not gonna miss a game, guys. You guys are fun, you know. And then when Texas happened, he's like, he's originally from Texas. He's like, we're going to Texas too. He wanted to drive, and we were in. So sorry we missed it, but we were there with him, man. It was.
So I wanted to ask a little bit about that, Jon. I don't know if you. You know, not being of the previous generations, I hear it all the time. Coach, you can attest to what you have heard, but a little bit of a culture shift in, man, the people, the alumni, the town. Tell me a little bit about the shift you felt over the last couple of years in support. I mean, really, honestly, a sense of pride, and a lot of that come from the football team being successful.
And it started with us. You know, we talked about it sophomore year and going into his junior year, but the whole team about just if we focus on us and do things the way we want to do, people will come to us. We don't want to, you know, force them in, because if you're force fed, you don't want to be part of it, you know.
For sure, yeah.
And it started with just us going out there and winning football games and doing it the right way, you know, playing tough, gritty football. And even in the losses we had early on, it was tough, gritty losses, and it showed that our kids were resilient. And then, you know, it helps when they see everything we're doing on social media, and we're out there, you know, running in the sand, or just getting after
110 degrees running routes.
getting after in the weight
Yeah.
room, seeing that and people wanting first kids to be part of it. We need the kids, right? You need
Yeah.
the kids before, and then more and more people in the stands and on the road.
I remember maybe your sophomore, junior year, which also I have advocated for John to play quarterback for. To this day, I think John gets mad that I made him play quarterback that one year, but had a great year, by the way. But I remember sitting there and explaining to someone, like, you realize we only lost to playoff teams and a state champion. Like,
Yeah.
And people didn't realize it till really your junior year. And then it hit them like, oh, man, these guys can play.
Yep.
And then, the picture came a little clearer. We brought Joe up. Some of the young guys were now freshmen. And that whole thing started to crystallize a little bit. So tell me a little bit about transitioning out of quarterback, back into your more natural positions. I mean, running back, a little bit of wide receiver, and then really linebacker. I mean, that's really your bread and butter.
Kind of like you said, it just felt natural. So and everything. So yeah, when I back then, my junior year, when I went back to everything, it just felt nice. Playing running back, being wide receiver. Just having fun.
I remember. I don't know if it was an athlete of the week or just one of the times we're sitting around. I'm like, everybody wants to throw touchdowns. John's like, I'd just rather hit people.
Yeah. But we were in Flagstaff for 7-on-7, and John was at the ASU visit, I believe. The Valley Christian coach came up to me and he said, you guys have Williams at receiver now? With just a concerned look on his face. And I'm like, we move him around, and he just shook his head. And he's always got a bunch of athletes. So just to hear that, and then we're up there competing, John's getting recruited, and we're still doing our thing. So now guys are realizing that, man, they got Williams, but they got a bunch of other kids that are pretty good too,
Oh, yeah. So, John, I kind of went off subject. Did you feel a little bit of that shift in tone when people talked about Mohave football over the last couple of years? I know it was not pretty when you first went up there, but
yeah, it felt nice. Everyone was like, "Oh yeah, you watch the football game." Just hearing that, around campus, it felt nice.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, right?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Very cool. I wanted to do something, Aganda. I know you went through a lot of those pictures already, but I just want to kind of get. Maybe we can start with that video at Mohave High School.
Oh, boy.
So, I don't know if you have that audio. I know you usually turn it down, Arganda.
I did turn it down, but I'll turn it back up.
Yeah, if you can maybe even start again, because I wanted you guys to kind of hear. So there's Mika. There's John.
They're going to be playing for you next year. They're going to move on. Bittersweet, what's good, what's bad?
Bittersweet is the last time I coached to them. The good part is we got a lot of Mighty Mites coming up that can contribute to continue the progress for Junior Pee Wee and help out. Those kids coming from Mighty Mite to the JP level will help out a lot, and they can contribute the same way as the other team. And not only that, them having a winning
Legendary
season
John
as well,
Stiffarm.
going 7-1 and winning the conference, that's a big morale to go up to JP and competing with these bigger kids.
Now, a lot of your kids eventually will play for Mohave Accelerator, River Valley, or something locally. As somebody who's played a role in their life, that's got to make you proud as well. It's something you're going to see in the next few years.
Yeah, I was coached by Rudy and Coach Ruckel, and those are two big influences on my life. And I've sat and talked with Rudy about it, and to help him.
Yeah, so how –
That's the first time I heard that.
Okay,
Yeah.
So take this whole thing full circle, right? Former Mohave product, Matt.
Yep.
Maish, myself out there. I don't know, young, handsomer Shane, many moons ago. A couple pounds lighter, too. But playing on a Mohave field, that Firebird team, was not good. And turned around, and then you hear him talking about the younger group was 7-1. You guys won a championship. A lot of that football influence came from Mohave High School. Coming back full circle, we didn't play on that field very often.
Yeah.
But playing at Mohave, being homegrown, and now going on to the next thing.
I love saying things like, I coached that kid, even though Matt's a kid. I forget how old I am because these guys, they just keep coming. They just keep coming. So, being around guys at Mohave, Ruckel hired me because of watching Coach Moreno play, and just he brought me in, and he coached me with Coach King, who also coached you up a little bit. And then just having that influence, and then starting to get coached, and then start seeing these kids come through, and then go. Austin Foster, who played for us, who just graduated this year, he's finishing his career at Simpson College, and they're going to eventually, hopefully, coach somewhere.
Yeah.
And maybe would come back here and coach. Which is the biggest goal is to have kids come here, set their roots, go, find their way, and then maybe find their way back. And help grow it and keep it growing.
Right.
And that was always been my goal when I came here. I wanted to start something and then be part of it and then have it grow and keep growing. Not just leave.
Right.
Obviously, I'm not going anywhere. I want to be here, but I'm not leaving until someone's ready to go take it.
Right.
So,
Jon, I know that was a different perspective for you, playing in that game. Really, when you're young, you're just playing in the game. But now you look back and go, man, that's pretty wild. That's the same place that I walk the halls, go to class, do my thing. And then you hear Coach Matt talking a little bit about the full circle of it. What's that like?
It's fun. Just kind of seeing everything. It's just fun.
It's weird looking back, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
No, it don't. I feel like it was just yesterday.
Yeah. Colbert, quarterback.
Yeah.
Robles catching passes.
Yeah.
You see his little throwing people off. He still does that to this day. But it's just so funny, especially, as an old guy watching and observing, But I thought that was pretty fun. I want to go through some of those pictures, Argando. We can go through some of the same ones again. And, fellas, just give me kind of your thoughts on this. Obviously, I think the first thing comes to mind on this is I think we're all pretty proud, right?
Yeah. One of my proudest moments,
Yeah, and I think you should be proud of your accomplishment for sure, but I think, proud is probably the first word that comes to mind. Jon, what do you see when you see this? What do you think of?
No,
Your sister's faking that smile. That's what you're thinking, huh?
Yeah, maybe a little, yeah. But just make my mom proud, because that's my biggest goal. And same with my grandma, just making them proud.
Yeah, absolutely, great picture. And Coach, that's got to be kind of what it's all about, right?
It's about family.
Family, 100%.
Family first, man. That's where way I was raised, and the way I want the boys to walk away from this program is understanding what family is. Oh boy.
So hold on this one for a second.
Oh man.
And let me I don't know, pontificate is the word here, but so you had been at this school for a long time. Is this the first time they asked you to be a grand marshal?
Yeah.
How did it feel? Pretty good,
well,
right?
The funny part is I'm in my shop, and I help out with security too. So I'm in the shop working, and Mr. Lipinski runs in, and he's like, "We need you now!" Like it was an emergency, so I went to run, and I have Joe in that
rolling
class.
the sleeves up. Let's go.
And Joe's all, "Let's go!" And I'm like, "Stay here, I got this." And I run around the corner, and I run into this, and I was ready to, I was just a little disappointed because I wanted to throw hands, but I guess we'll just enjoy the moment,
Coach is down in the stands,
Yeah.
he's ready to pull guard there. Yeah.
I walked away limping.
And so then I believe you then drove a Finley vehicle in that parade, yeah?
My wife did.
Yeah.
My wife and my daughter. My daughter in the backseat with me, and my daughter chose to miss soccer that night, which is a huge deal for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, great moment, and had to Google what Grand Marshal meant, but it meant a lot, and it did because it's just fun to see. My parents are still around. They went to all the games this year when I played. Through Moreno, through you guys, through Jon. I mean, they haven't missed a home game in probably
pretty cool,
30
man.
years. Yeah.
Pretty cool. So what do you think of this when you see this one, Jon?
Again, just make my grandparents proud and make my mom proud.
Yeah. Every time I see, I feel like you got a little bit of a more authentic smile when it's with Grandma. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you in trouble on the ride home with Mom. How about this one?
Oh man.
So that was second round, right?
Yeah.
So that was a fun game, yeah. So that was the same game. Your guys made a really tough catch, put us in scoring position. I think we scored, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was a great example of some other guys stepping up and taking some of the pressure off of Jon. And we got a great young team returning, but I think we're all going to miss moments like these.
Yeah.
Seeing 14 come off the field and. Yeah.
Well, we won't see it again.
No. So, listen, I'll tell you, these are great. I have been doing these Athlete of the Weeks now long enough that kids that have done them are in college. Some of them are doing other things in life. But, I'm going to miss – I mean, Coach, I'm so proud when our guys are recognized for this. I don't get to choose them.
Yeah,
I'd be
of course.
super biased if I was probably, but I'd be like, I don't know. That tackle, number 77, is a pretty good-looking kid. I don't know.
We should get an O-line guy in there eventually.
Listen,
come on. All the numbers we put up.
Just ask Benjamin. He thinks so, too.
Yeah, well, I agree, Benjamin.
But I'll tell you, these are a lot of fun. And then, we have some fun in the interviews. And so, you know, it's been a pleasure, of course, and I think that our next phase will be getting Jon ready to leave for West Point, which we are 100% in on. But this one had to be fun, right? It's a pretty cool picture.
So that was fun, you know. Like I said, it was my first time, taking college
Should have
photos.
told him white's not our color. We like black and gold. But So did you already know that was where you wanted to be when you took that picture, or were you still thinking?
See, I already had kind of a mindset, but just going to that college photo, like going to the campus, maybe set my decision right then and there almost.
That's a great picture.
Yeah, that is a great picture for sure. I'd love to hear what you think about this one because I know you're trying to make Benjamin look small.
I think right before that or after that, we tried, who had a longer wingspan, and of course, Ben beat me.
Yeah. Ben got some long arms on that kid.
He does.
Look, he's on his tippy toes too. Oh, this is a good. Hold on this one for a second. So do you know when this would have been? I mean, look at some of the friggin' faces in that picture, huh?
Well, I think that's probably where Jerry was a freshman. 8th grade? Wow. So John's in 8th grade, so Jerry's
So that would have been during
that was during
8th grade
COVID.
too.
So so that would have been during COVID.
Yeah.
Everything was shut down, and
right.
we kept these kids together, try to not let them isolate. But man, look at that. You got Adrian in there, an absolute baby Urias.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ben is still cheesing it up pretty hard.
You can see the chip on Urias' shoulder already right there. And look in his eyes. He's mad about something.
So that was like right after Max, wasn't it?
It must be COVID.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Deacon's got a shirt on.
Yeah.
So.
And he has a regular perm and a shirt on, so
yes.
those were tough times for sure. So this is a good one. Very, very early in your football world, but obviously with Coach Matt, you know. I mean, I think we all have a deep appreciation for Matt and what he did, and he started unintentionally, just wanted to put out better football for the kids in the community, and ended up doing some real special things. So,
he did a
and
great
somehow
job.
someone talked me into wearing a nice shirt to that event. I don't know how that happened. I don't know if I was still married then and she made me or what. So tell me a little bit about this. Stay on this for a second. When you see this, what do you think of, Jon?
Just bringing back old memories because, that was right there on, right where I started and everything, right there on Firebird Field. And so, I think that was, 8th grade as well?
Yeah, it's got to be a camp.
Yeah, so that is where we spent many, many nights and all day Saturday. And is that the little Underwood kid there?
So, that's
he can be a good football player.
Yeah, he is.
That might be a prophetic picture someday. He might be going to college someday, and we'll be like, oh, there's Jon in college, this kid in college. So but a lot of great memories down there and working them ladders. What about this one?
Another great pitch. Right when I started my high school career, I was on JV though, but still, you can see right there, right next to me. That's Robles. And that's how we started. It was all together.
Well, Nick's a huge part of what we still do. It's funny because he's doing his thing up with the Raiders now, and on our practice script it still says Nick Smith time because we always ended our practice with our conditioning, and he was a huge part of bringing that mindset of how we attack the weight room. We still use his the workouts we adjusted to what we're doing with him because what he taught us. And then also our sprinting and when we're running and how we're running and why we run. So he's still a big part of it, even though he's doing his thing.
So I see it. Obviously you're a Raiders fan. I don't know if you're following the Raiders super close, but they got Antonio Pierce is now head coach, and they're a little hooligan-y. And I thought Nick is right at home right now. Nick's got the most professional look. He always dressed right and this, and then as soon as that game got going, he was as rowdy as I ever was. So.
No, it's
he's up there screaming and he's just loving it now.
Another one of those kids from Mohave, and he had a goal. He had a goal of changing football at Mohave. He played for us. He went off in college, did his thing in college, came back and jumped right into it. And work. What doesn't matter. He put in the extra hours, film breakdown, doing stats. Big help in your recruiting process. Just helping you show you how to do it and how to get that way. That's just. Once again, one of those proud moments where you're like, man, my brother's a huge Raider fan, and I'm like, I got a guy. Who was there, man, It's
pretty cool. So I don't know if you remember this or if maybe this wasn't even your team for Firebird, but for a long time, it's just me and Matt. right? And everybody helped, but Matt kind of leaned on me for some defensive stuff, which is ironic now because I spend so much time with the offense now. And then Matt, of course, is a defensive guy. He ended up becoming an offensive guru.
That's how it usually works.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But and I remember Nick coming down. I remember thinking, who's a young kid? What is this guy doing? And then I listened to him for about 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, here you go, man.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yeah, you got this.
Car, man.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Sounds really good, though. You go do that. And, that kind of became that, what really grew that program was that group of guys right there.
He changed, I call the defense on Fridays, but he really brought in, what I learned from my other coaches and how to call it. But he came in and our ideas just bounced off, and it wasn't like bouncing back. It was just working really fluid. And that was one of those opportunities where I'm like, man, we can really be something special if we move things around and be less rigid. And we were, and it started with us just sitting down and talking about it, sitting in my kitchen, and talking about our plan. And then on Friday nights, he's still in my head, and we had Narcisse this year who got coached by Nick back in the day, and, and then it's just that's the best part of what we do.
Yeah, no, it's so fun. We get to live it, and a lot of people get to observe it. People say, "Hey, man, the game." All this was cool, but they don't know the day in, the day out, the evolution of how you got there, and it's fun to kind of sit back and remember, Nick coming in, Nick and putting some new things in, and you know what I mean. The addition of Domino, Domino's become a huge part of everything we do. You know what I mean?
Just trusting him. I now I see his mom showing videos when he played. I'm catching up on him. But just. The biggest word we use is trust. Yeah. And trusting the process and letting guys do their thing, and not micromanage anything. I remember I've worked with coaches where you're micromanaged and being able to just let guys be themselves, and then you can see it, and then we can add stuff to it. It's almost like cooking. You follow the recipe, or you can just add a little here and there and then taste it. If it tastes good, right? If it tastes good, that's what we say on Friday nights, man. If it tastes good, keep doing it. If it don't taste good, change it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, man.
Yep. That had to have been quite the relief for everybody, right? Yeah. We got Mom over here. Mom, what were you thinking there?
We managed to get him through it.
John's like, what do you mean? Never had a doubt, right? The whole time.
And I think this year, John's always been John, but I think this year, even with the verbal commit and knowing that he had a plan, just watching him be a little more free. Like you could tell when something's weighing on someone, you can see it. And I could tell that. I think, and in my opinion, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think that he looked different this year. He looked like he was more relaxed out there on the field. His eyes were wide open. He was making plays that were just fluid. And I think it's because the process was done. I think he knew his plan was there.
Was there a little bit of stress in that, in terms of finding out where you're going to have a home, or was that something that weighed on you pretty heavy?
At first, yeah, especially during my sophomore, junior year. I feel like that kind of held me back a little bit. But then once I made my verbal commitment, I just felt like everything was just set free.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we can go over some of John's accolades, but as a team, some huge success.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect timing, Arganda. Man, right off the top, Defensive Player of the Year.
So this is all 3A. So this is not on our region. This is the whole state. And without a doubt, going in the room with the.
Uh-oh, we got Blaine Moore.
Oh,
poor
shoot,
Blake.
Blake.
Blake, yeah.
Typo. I'll blame my secretary.
Autocorrect.
Yeah, it was me.
Always blame the phone, Coach. Always blame the phone.
Blake, another one. This year, he went from last year. We knew what he was. We knew what he can do, and he did it. But it wasn't recognized in our region very much, and then our state. But this year, he really, coaches were like, John's good, but, I know coaches in our region were like, he was Defensive Player of the Year in our region. Blake was. So
yeah.
Blame Blake.
Yeah. Blame Blake. We're gonna blame. We want a lot of teams to blame Blake next year.
Yeah, so. And then obviously Ben, his goal this year was to be on this board, and he worked hard at it. He's one of those kids that wants to get to work. We saw him on signing day, and he's already talking about it. And first team All-State offensive lineman, Caesar,
man,
come out of nowhere.
Yeah, just like he plays football, like a missile.
Yeah, he had zero snaps last year. He's a sophomore.
Yeah,
0 snaps last year on the varsity. And we didn't have free safety. We graduated Preston, and we need someone back there. Preston was a pretty good free safety for us in our defensive scheme. And then we find him in the spring, and we're crossing our fingers. And I'm like, "Are we sure?" And Narcisse was like, "Yeah, I think he can do it as long as he stays deep."
Yeah. I think we heard that Caesar 50 times a practice,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, even on the
and then
road.
Look at that second team. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty spectacular. So
huge for him for his first year varsity, you know. And then Isaac, he's our Mr. Everything, and just to just be recognized at the state level where he could be recognized on both sides of the ball. But he's a force. Gage, second team long snapper, which was we saw the picture. So
Yeah.
I mean, the first team guy is going to TCU.
that's pretty good.
So
That's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, if the first team guy.
And I'll
beat him
tell
out.
you, I'll be shocked if Gage doesn't get some recognition this upcoming year for the defensive side of the
for
ball.
sure. Oh, for
Because
sure.
he was a very unsung hero. He was spectacular
Yeah.
most of the year.
Yep,
So
Yep. And then our honorable mentions, of course, our quarterback's dynamic kid, and it was just drenched with talent at the quarterback level in our in our region with obviously the Gage kid, and then Paul and Nathaniel, both guys that are another two sophomores
Emerging.
up there, two sophomores up there again.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
I don't know if John follows it too much. You see that Gage Baker led the nation in passing.
Yes.
Did you see what I posted on our Instagram the other day?
I
He took an L here.
You did. You did. That was one of those games where the team stepped up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, John got kicked out of that game.
Yeah.
I think and so did I. But but I think that once again, it talks about coming together as a team and finding our way. John was pretty upset, and he should have been. And I'm over there trying to console him and make sure he's okay because that's our job to take care of him. And then I'm still calling the defense, and then I get kicked out, and then all of a sudden I have Mika, his mom, taking care of me, and I was like, wow, it could just come full circle.
Yeah, it happens fast.
10 minutes ago, I was trying to take care of John. Now here I am in the locker room, and Mika's trying to tell me to calm down.
So, John, I definitely didn't want you kicked out of that game, and I really didn't want you out of the next game. But I actually think it was a very important moment for the rest of those guys to get a taste of what life after John will be like.
Yeah.
I think we all know John is a great defensive equalizer.
Yeah.
If you're gonna run at John, good luck. You know what I mean? And that team
we ran away from it.
ran away from him in the second half against the team who came in second in state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did their job. They trusted each other. It's not about one, but about all.
Yep.
And it was fun to watch. Not watch from outside, it was, but just to hear the way the kids were reacting, and the crowd was reacting, and the fire was there. It's an easy, coach gone, John gone. Let's just we can mail it in, and they didn't. They stepped up.
Yeah, and that team was number one in the state at that time. Yeah, if you look at that, Paradise Honors ended up losing in the finals to the team that beat us.
Yep.
And if you look on that schedule, which it'll haunt me for the rest of my life, 2 losses, both to Sabino,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
who ended up winning the state championship.
Yep.
So hats off to him. Really, really talented team. But, man, we had a great year.
Yeah, phenomenal year. Once again kept growing every week. That first Sabino game, I thought we grew. And then in the playoffs, our goal was to host a playoff game. We host 2. 2 tough teams come in. And Stafford from the south, really, really tough region, come in, and we went nose to nose with them and took care of them. And then, Blue Ridge, who is a storied program in Arizona.
Yeah.
If you've been around, I guess, as long as I have, and you think about, all these teams, in my career playing against the Peorias and the Cactuses and, these schools. We played Peoria a couple years back when it was their 100th year playing football in Arizona. You get a little side, and then Blue Ridge coming down where they've been king of the mountains for years, and Hathcock, their head coach, who's been coaching 20 years and does his thing, and then have them come to our house and play in a playoff game. And then they have I'm still hearing about their broadcast team.
They were awesome.
Yeah,
Man, they were good.
I was
like
in
a little ESPN.
Yeah, I was in Vegas over the holidays, and my buddy Kenny was like, you should get them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
I said the same thing. I was like, did anyone from the Fieldhouse watch us? They should be trying to copy that format right now. It was high quality. They sold ads. It was
No, it was phenomenal.
It was legit.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it on that, but from what I hear, but it was a great
I think
game.
I've rewatched that game twice just because it was fun to watch.
I
I got great angles with all the kids, making plays.
And then us joining
They butchered everybody's names as usual.
Us joining the community and being on that sideline.
Yeah.
Was fun. It was
something.
I had some Blue Ridge parents behind me, just going at it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what it's like.
Yeah.
All right, and then I thanked the guy after the game because it was fun. He got my blood pressure up a little higher, which was nice.
Yeah,
kept me active.
So, John, when you are a year from today, say, and you're in the middle of your Army first year, what are you going to look back on and talk about with your future teammates, you think?
Just like, kind of how we, talked about the weather. Just, because it's going to be cold up there. So that's something I have to get used to. But, just
You're checking the weather on your phone. You're like 70 degrees today. It's 20 and snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because you're going to meet people from all over the country.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, no, I live in a place where it's 120 degrees regularly. And they're going to be like, no, you're not. And you're going to be like, oh, yes, I am.
Well, Mika sent me a picture, and it was pretty cool when they're at the Blue-Gray game. And it's Army, Air Force, and Navy, 3 commits in the game. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's in the game, I've been reading, there's like 3 or 4 other kids from Arizona going to Army as well. So it's fun. Now, now you open up, I'm following everything Army on Twitter because you got to make sure I'm ahead of him on what's going on.
Yeah.
And
I told my son, I said, I don't think I've worn a non-Pittsburgh sports team in 41 years. And I had some Bulls stuff when I was a kid, but that was Michael Jordan. It was different.
Of course.
But I said, I'm going to have to get me a little Army hat or something, you know. But
good colors.
Good colors.
Go with everything.
If the colors were bad, it's a deal breaker. I don't do purple, man.
Yeah, no.
If you'd have went to TCU, I'd have been like, man, I don't know, man. Good luck.
Even ASU, my niece has graduated from there this year, and if you would have went to ASU, she would have been excited. I would have been, oh, man, if ASU's okay, then UCLA is too,
So, Coach, what do you got coming up this year? Obviously, I think we're overlooking our wounds from the season.
Yeah, we're ready.
We're looking forward to it's time to get to work. What's on the agenda? What do you look forward to?
We'll start our lifting program next week again. And short week because we get back to school in midweek, and then get back on the field, do some speed work first. That's the first and foremost thing. The skills are there.
Watch all the rust fall off the linemen.
So get back to getting our feet moving and our hands moving.
Yep.
Trying to work that quickness, get that speed. That's key. My dad told me. He's 86, always tells me, be faster. So it's fun to work on it, and just do little gear. I mean, and not fast like in 100-yard sprints, but fast in 10s, fast in 20s.
Yeah.
And just getting guys ready to play football again, and get them moving. And other sports, we share kids. We share kids with all the sports. So
right.
It's even tough trying to plan a banquet.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the schedule, and there's a game, a wrestling meet, a game, a soccer match. I'm trying to figure out just a window to get the guys all back together again so we can eat a meal and celebrate each other. So we're working on that too. So we got that going on, and then obviously spring will happen, and then our summer will work out, and we're back at it again.
Yeah, very cool. It goes fast. Yeah, John, what's on your agenda? I know you're wrestling now, right?
Yeah.
Heavyweight.
Yep.
Yeah. I would favor that just because I'm against losing weight, but that's just me. So. So wrestling. What is your time frame for getting prepared? Shipping out, all that other stuff. What's that time frame look like for you?
I haven't gotten the full schedule yet, so I'm just kind of waiting right now. But yeah, once wrestling season's over with, I'm be right there with Coach O working out and everything.
Did they send you like a hey, you need to be able to hit all these markers by the time you get here?
No.
They'll send a workout. They'll send it. We're in the past with other kids from other programs. Of course, Army's one of the premiers. So
I'll be really mad if we get John in the best shape of his life before he leaves us.
Yeah. Don't worry, I won't photocopy it.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Nothing we could use here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very fun. So,
but this is once again, the grind of the season. I think I told someone the other day that doesn't really feel like it ended yet. It's still last year against Valley Christian we lose that game, and we worked all year just to beat Valley Christian again. That was our whole goal. And now this year I'm not working on beating Sabino because we know we can. If we get it again. So we just got to work on ourselves again.
Yeah, and they graduated half their team and their best player transferred. You see that?
Yeah,
what is that?
Yeah, he's going to Gilbert, yeah.
I still want him to come play here.
And it's funny how they do it now.
Make that 7-hour drive.
They're doing NCAAs where they're like, well, we're taking our talents to Gilbert.
Yeah.
The whole family's moving to Gilbert. And I'm like, God, this is so crazy.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
They got to sit 5, so he's going to miss half a
we'll
year
see.
his senior year.
We'll see AIA. We'll see. Yeah. One-wayers.
Right.
That's so funny. Well, shoot, you guys have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it went really well. A lot of traveling. Missed one flight, but still back and forth to Vegas a couple times. A lot of family. You know, I always love that part about it. You know, we talked about being family and having family around us, enjoying the stress of it, and the love of it. You know, and then yesterday I was talking to one of my wife's cousins who's in North Carolina or South Carolina, one of the Carolinas, and she's in tears because social media, you really don't miss anything.
Yeah.
You know, but she missed the fact that everyone was together. So just being together in the time of year, and because we do miss a lot of time with family, with coaching.
Yeah.
You know, we're either watching film.
Did I take that picture? It's a great picture.
Yeah.
It's so bad. You go through my phone, and I've got probably 80 car pictures, and then here comes a Friday, and I got about 100 football pictures,
You
and
can
then
show
you come
that
back.
picture to the Chiefs. Show them how to line up and knock
Yeah.
off sides.
Yeah.
Check with the officials.
It's that old, yeah. Is that Kadarius Toney?
Yeah.
Keeps doing it? Yeah. You know, stuff like this was fun, too. Like, I feel
Man.
like, you know, the community kind of rallied up a little bit. We've got more people involved in things. I think the relationship we have with the band is fun.
I love it.
You
I
know?
love Miss Ryblin. You know, it's my favorite part of the game is going out and giving her a hug before the game. And
Yep.
she's as fired up as we are.
She is super fired up. The one day she was asking, she's like, "We're ready to do it." And the other teams, I said something crazy. You know how I get on football
Yeah.
game days. And she's like, "All right, let's go." And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah.
No, she's really, you know, I mean, everyone is, you know, from the administration down, they're really fired up about what we're doing around the school. And, you know, it started with the football team. Our superintendent's a big supporter of athletics as well as academics. And he makes sure that, you know, if we're winning here, we're going to win there. You know, we're trying to put it all together, change the culture.
Yeah. You know,
And, I mean, Finley's a huge part of us. You know, we know, obviously, working with you, but just what they do for all the community, not just us, but all the sports. You know, Athlete of the Week, I mean, that's phenomenal. You know, it's just a sport to push our kids out there and put the kids in the spotlight, from Needles to Laughlin and everywhere in between.
yeah. And, you know, a lot of that came about because of, be 100% honest, I was working with these guys when they were young, and they were winning Vegas games, championships, traveling all over the country and playing, and nobody knew about
Yeah.
it. And you'd ask the paper, and they'd be like, "Well, if you write an article, take some pictures, we'll see what we can do." And you'd be like, "I mean, I can do that, but what are we doing
Yeah,
here?"
now they're trying to catch up, which is
Yeah,
good.
and they're doing a great job
Yes,
now.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Their coverage over the playoffs was fantastic. Their basketball coverage has been better.
Yep.
But that literally is why I started
Yeah.
pitching it to Rob and the paper, and it's grown into its own entity with the Aces Awards, things like that.
Yeah.
But full disclosure, a lot of that came because of you guys and the Firebirds, when I remember being frustrated thinking, man, these kids are amazing and nobody knows.
Yep.
And
Makes
it
sense.
used to piss me off.
And the more we promote our kids, the more support they'll get, you know, in the community.
Yeah,
you know,
more support, and then, you know, like, I hate to sound like a corny influencer guy, but man, I hope it inspires when someone sees Jon do what he's done here. Inspire somebody else, you know. Like, I bet you of that next generation of young kids that play football, they all know who these guys are and what they do. I mean, I hear them talk about it. I used to joke about, God, you probably weren't but 14, and was it Mika? Do you remember when we were hosting games? Was that during COVID when all those games were down here at youth? And some kid runs down off the bench and goes, "Hey, are you number 14?" And Jon was like,
Oh, lovely.
"Yeah." You know, like, that was some kid from Vegas who knew.
Vegas, he was walking down the sideline, and all of a sudden you hear the kid go, look, there's number 14. Oh my gosh, look, there's number 14.
Yeah, like, that's super cool, you know. And so we, you know, we have since started doing youth camps, bringing kids in, exposing them to the game.
Well, I remember when I was young, you know, and I was playing in California, you know, the guys from the high school would come down during our Hell Week and help the coaches for that first 5-10 practices. And then so when I became a coach, I wanted to be more like that and have our kids just – I remember like Chris Thompson, who's a family man now, and I remember him running our youth camp back in the day and him looking at the kids and looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, that's what we deal with, you know?
Yeah.
trying to talk to a kid about a linebacker stance, and he's staring at a butterfly flying away, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was you, Chris. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, you know? So just giving these guys the opportunity to coach the young guys. And Jon had the same frustration, come up to me during a camp, he'd be like, they're not listening.
Yeah.
I'm like, really, Jon? They're not listening, huh?
Yeah, I remember some of those this year's camp, and some of those young guys had only been with us for a few months, and they were so frustrated. But I'll tell you what I was really impressed with is that they did repeat the things that we'd been telling them.
That's the point of it.
And I was like, "Oh, you do listen, you do know." not doing it in practice.
Can't get his feet right, coach. I'm like, oh, he can't get his feet right, huh? It's not that easy, right? So just watching them show him.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. I mean, go show him first.
Yeah.
Show him, and then bring him in and make it exciting for him. And then watching those kids and then telling them to come to the games. And then seeing those kids at the games.
So I used to show these guys, and then I couldn't show them anymore.
Yeah.
They started showing
me.
I've been joking with Jon about it forever. I think he started out squatting me at 15.
Yeah.
Throws a football further than I did. Like, for the longest time, I go out there and throw passes to these guys, and now they don't even care because Jon throws further than I do in games, and I can't in practice. So.
And then just watching the kids, like the drills we do don't change. He'll do the same drills when he gets to college, and then they'll do the same drills when they go to the NFL. The drills don't change. It's just how you attack the drill.
Yeah.
And now our kids, getting kids to buy into it. There's no the evolution of the game is just how it's getting faster, but the footwork's the same, and how you get to it's the same. And
what's crazy football-wise is that the game is actually going back to, more blocking schemes and more condensed formations.
Yeah. See a lot more tight end attached, which is
fun.
And
and now you're going to have to watch defenses adjust and get bigger, and then they're going to go back to speeding it out and all this other stuff. Like, the game's so.
Well, I caught a clip of that Varsity Blues yesterday. I was flipping to the TV, and when the kids take over at the end, and they put 5 receivers out, and the guys in the stands is like, he's like, how many receivers are out there?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's fun to watch. Because it was. I remember that movie from when I was younger.
Yeah,
so.
when you're a football junkie, this is the best time of year because you got bowl games all year,
Yes.
NFL playoffs. Like, man, it's so much fun. You watch so much high-level football right now.
Yeah, there's a game every day.
Probably once a week. Probably once a week I post on Instagram irritated and be like, you guys should be watching football right now. Like, I hope you are because there's so much good stuff on there. That would have been, like your freshman year there, Jon. Sophomore year?
I think that's sophomore year. I think that's Vega, right? My last clip.
Yeah. God, Ben's always got a lot of hair. Yeah, Blake's strong, man.
Yeah.
Man, he gets a solid offseason. He is going to be the Aaron Donald of Arizona football.
Yeah.
Terrible form. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our weight room, man. I love it.
Yeah, what's funny is we do a lot with a little in that weight room. You see a lot of places have these spectacular weight rooms and all this other stuff. And, we just literally go out. I think we got yelled at for this, didn't we? Because we messed up the beach volleyball sand.
Yeah.
I think it was more of the day of the week.
Yeah.
That's what it – but, we're going to use the sand if it's there.
Yeah.
It's a school property. We're okay. As long as we rake it.
I feel like there's a little bit of I don't know if gimmick is the word, but a little bit of novelty maybe in doing all this stuff in the sand. But I'll tell you, it's fun. It's like a little break in the monotony of doing the same things over and over again. And I'll tell you, man, these guys came out and worked. They worked hard in this. And then they'd go throw balls for an hour.
Yep. And that's just making sure that they're still checked in and doing the things. Change it up a little bit, make it a little more fun, but have them realize that the importance of what we're doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're doing it right when you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, anything worse is practicing things wrong.
Yeah. Right.
Oh wow, we got really good at doing this wrong.
The fun part, like even when it's 100 and 119 degrees outside and we're out there doing it, it's just about just getting it done. It doesn't matter what we're dealing with.
Well, it's become a long-running joke on my Instagram now that I actually don't even get my tans from boating anymore. It's all from football practice. Yep. Yeah, I have this elite tan, and it's all from standing out there at football practice all week. So.
Yeah, it's just getting the kids out there is the most fun part.
I had a couple pictures of out on the boat, and it was old, like little perm deacon. You were super skinny, so I don't know what year that was. Benjamin, of course, had a shitload of hair, so.
You never know.
Oh, God, that kid. He's going to be like a hair model or something. He's going to play football his whole life and go out and be a hair model, plus-size hair model.
WWE.
Yeah, WWE. Yeah.
We have a Mohave kid wrestling.
Yeah, the Briggs kid. Yeah, Josh Bruns.
Yep, Josh Bruns. Yeah.
His dad was in the car business.
Yep, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Played O-line for us and went to UMass.
I'm telling you, I think that we should start, if the school won't do it, just do a football one of like a football Hall of Honor or something. Yeah. Because you don't realize it, but, you got Big Mo. You got a bunch of guys before Mo who had played in college. Yep. The Bruns kid. You're going to have Jon. Yep. Like, there's a bunch of guys who went and played. And, I don't know. I don't think JJ was much of a football player.
No, but he's doing
But he's a friggin' professional athlete,
yep.
MMA fighter. Like, that's pretty badass.
Lonnie. he's playing basketball overseas right now, getting paid to play basketball. Went to Mohave
absolutely.
And
Graduated 5 years ago.
Yeah, playing overseas, getting paid to play basketball. I mean, shoot.
Never hear about it, right?
Right.
Yep, I don't know.
That's got to be halftime, right? It's got to be a halftime picture.
I don't see a lot of big guys in there. They're big. Oh yeah, is that Paul in the back?
So they're usually in the back.
You know, these are the things that we get a little glimpse of. I'll steal some pictures or some moments. And actually, Argonda, if you go through some of the reels, we've actually had some kind of cool moments captured in some of those reels. So if you're on that Instagram page and you go to the reels, and you know, we got to edit them sometimes. We get a little worked up.
Yeah.
We get a little worked up sometimes. Go to the next one. Next one. That's Urias's amazing catch. Yeah, like stuff like this. It's pretty rad coming out of that tunnel. Like,
Yep.
It's not necessarily about the tunnel. It's coming out before the game and the music and the crowd.
The hype.
And there's a little bit of
the band.
Yeah.
lined
Listen,
up,
the reality
cheerleaders.
is most people will never do that in their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's pretty rad. Go to the next. There's another one of there's one in there somewhere. Coach O talking, and it went viral. That's a good one too. Yeah, that's man. We got good social media, fellas. I'm just saying.
No, it's awesome.
I don't know who does that for you guys, but man, that guy's good.
My buddies in California love it. They follow everything.
Yeah.
That's on the road.
Yeah, there it is.
If they don't know now, they're going to know in 48 minutes. But that's up to us. And we got to do it right. Trust each other. Trust your coaches. Trust this game of ours. And when we're
Look at
done,
Pedro and John's
we'll be
eyes.
dancing here, I promise. You got me? Yes, sir. Let's go get it.
Locked in.
Yeah,
Like, listen, we can't show everybody all the speeches,
Yeah.
but every once in a while you catch one and you go, that's what it's all about right there.
Yeah, and we were dancing.
Yes, we were. Was that the Morgate game?
No, that was Havasu.
Was that Havasu?
Yeah, that was Havasu.
yeah.
That was yeah, we were dancing after that game.
Yeah.
That was my game when I came back, yeah.
Funny.
That's great. Well, shoot, fellas, unfortunately I could sit here and talk all day. I think we've done an hour already, so yeah. Does it feel like an hour?
No.
So no.
We halftime break?
Yeah, you do 10 minutes of conditioning and practice. It feels like an hour. You sit out here and you do this, and you talk about what you love and something you're passionate about. It flies right by.
Yeah,
so
I'm ready. Let's go. Another 2
Yeah.
hours.
I know.
I love it.
We started. We got to get Coach Doug on one.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna need 3 hours.
Yes,
Just have
for
a
Coach
sports
Doug.
show.
Yeah.
We need
Yep.
a sports show. That's
Absolutely.
I think we said this last time we did the show.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I know.
Hey, listen, I know a guy, Argonda.
all. Yeah, I do too.
But
I know a guy.
Coach, this is awesome. I appreciate you having us on here. You know, I always get a little nervous about stuff, but once I get talking about football,
Well,
my nerves go away.
listen,
And this guy, talk about this guy. I can talk.
I know John don't love to do this too much, so I appreciate you taking the time coming out.
Well,
and
Mika said anything makes him uncomfortable makes her happy. Look how happy she is right there.
He's gotten a lot better. He's gotten much better.
yeah, but listen, I say this very seriously. I think that being comfortable in front of a camera, but speaking publicly is a very important part of life. Like when you find out, you'll be just as capable as another guy, but if you can't articulate it or get your message across, then it doesn't necessarily work out in your favor. So I think it's important that you do these things and get what opportunities that you have to get the experience, and then you'll find yourself not at a disadvantage that other people have their first time. So I think it's important that we do stuff like this.
Sure, 100%.
That's why they should talk more at practice.
Right? We try to get them. Try to get them.
Yeah, gentlemen, I'm absolutely pumped that you guys came on for the last show of the year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I had such a fun year this year, and I think we talked a little bit about it. Guys coming back and finding things they enjoy. Getting these young men in a position to go to Army, to go to college, to go do whatever's next for them, is probably what has become like the bigger purpose in life for me. Right? It's like be a parent, take care of these guys, and don't tell Finley that. Finley's number 3. Sorry. But it gives you a greater purpose and a greater sense of a meaning to what you do. It's football, man. We love the game. I'll watch it on TV, whatever else. But when you translate it to people that you know and care about, it's pretty special.
Growing men.
Yep.
We grow men, dude. That's love it.
Yep.
It,
John, I'm very proud of you, man.
Yep.
It's awesome. Can't wait to see what you do the next phase of things. And I believe Army plays at UNLV next year.
October 19th.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's October 19th.
We'll be there.
Just saying.
I'll be there.
Yeah. I'll be there either way, but you go out there and that'd be pretty cool, man.
Yep.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Fellas, appreciate you, man.
Thanks,
Thank
John,
you.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
See you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.